Well, the 2017 Flames football season just weeks away, and to talk about it, we brought in the fellas, Alan York, voice of the Flames, and the guy that's been around since, I think, before the Ford Pass was legal, Paul Retigliano, longtime member of Flames football, and of course, color commentator as well. Guys, let's start talking about the offense this week. Second year with Joe Daly as the offensive coordinator. Paul, you've been on the sidelines, you've been in coaching, you understand this very well, but year two for a coordinator, what are the differences the second time around, and can an offense take a jump in that second year being more familiar with it?
The biggest thing that comes to mind is familiarity with your group, with your staff, and knowing that comfort zone. And now I've talked about this on the radio, but he's got to see progression from Stephen Calvert this second year. He played 10 games last year. Obviously didn't get the start against Virginia Tech. He struggled. He went through a dip last year, kind of tailed off at the end of the year. But that's my biggest thing right there, is his relationship with the quarterback, how well those two are integrated.
Joe's been one that he's been a big fan of Buckshot even since he started recruiting him, and we've heard a lot about him. And I think that's a special bond that the OC and the quarterback do have with each other. And let's not be shy about it. He's got some pretty good players coming back, but having Buckshot back for year two, we've already talked about how bigger he's gotten and how much more of a command of the offense he's got. So big things, I think, on the horizon for this Liberty offense.
You're talking about the offensive line. Can we all agree that's kind of the biggest area, I don't know if you want to call it area for concern, but certainly an area where there's some question marks there. Is that the biggest spot on the offensive side of the ball where we kind of wait and see what happens?
Yeah, well, it's the biggest, it's got the largest group, and those five guys have to play well in order for the guy behind the center to play well, because they got to protect them. They got to be able to establish the run game. So a lot depends on those five guys up front. So I know this fall practice training camp, a lot of effort is going into those five guys and making sure they have continuity and they play together and there's chemistry.
I think so too. Aaron Stam, just following him the last 6 years, he's the perfect guy for that group. You see him during the games and during practices. He wants to get dirty and grimy like that group. So I think it's a great fit to have him move from where he was with some of the skill positions to the interior of that offensive line. It's going to be, I think, a really match made in heaven for them.
Finally, biggest breakout candidate on the offensive side of the football. We've talked so much about Buckshot, but who do you guys see as a guy that could break out this year?
I think Zach Fouts, he's the projected starter, and he's got the size, he's got the speed, but he, to me, is a guy that really has to have a breakout season because he can really impact the game because he's 6'4", about 250 pounds, and he can be such a great asset to Buckshot.
Yeah.
And one, he's been here already 3-4 years, is B.J. Farrow. He's a guy that if you watch his tape leading up into his Liberty career, you say, wow, he's going to be the next P.D. Peterson. And he just hasn't had the opportunity, I think. He's been out there a lot, big catch against Coastal 2 years ago. And then, Dante Shells last year got the lion's share of the publicity. So now it's kind of BJ's turn. And he's not a flamboyant guy like Petey was, and you don't have to be. But I think there's a lot of excitement centering around B.J. Farrow to take the baton, if you will, on the wideout position.
I'll say this. He's a name we all know, but Carrington Mosley, yes. Double-digit touchdowns, I'm saying this year. At 5 a year ago, I think he's going to have a monster season as well. So that's it for the offense. Come back next week, and we'll chat up the defensive side of the football.